All right. Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to the first Greater Clark County School Community Tech Talk. I am Brett Clark, Director of Technology, and today we'll be talking with me, and then also Melissa Stewart, our e-learning coach in Charleston, New Washington, and then Officer Rusty Settles, who is our SRO at Jeff High and does a great work and for our students. So today we're going to be discussing multiple different things, talking about our one-to-one initiative, where we're at with it, and we're going to be talking about filtering and what we use to keep our students safe for different content and to make sure that our students have access to the right information online. And then we're also going to be talking about cyber safety and some efforts that they do as police officers with our students and our families. And I'm also going to be talking about an exciting new grant that we are going to be venturing into through the summer and for next school year. So I appreciate everybody who's able to come out tonight and be a part of our first Tech Talk. So I'm going to turn things over to our e-learning coach, Melissa Stewart. And for those of you that are joining online, we appreciate you tuning in with us tonight. So I'm going to turn it to you, Melissa.
Thank you, Brett. Do we need anybody to join? Okay. We're really excited about our new Chromebook Refresh that's coming next year. We have ordered 8,500 HP Chromebooks. They will come with a really nice protective case on them, which we hope that will reduce some of our breakages that we've had and give your children a much more sturdy device to carry with them to and from school. So we're really excited to roll those out at the open houses. The high school one will be on July 25th. The middle school one will be on July 26th. And the elementary one will be on the 27th of July. Now, our third graders will not get theirs at that time. Theirs will roll out a little bit later, but we hope to have those out by mid-August. Along with our Pride initiative, next year we really want to kind of amp things up and make sure that our Chromebooks are a part of that Pride initiative. So what we plan to do is we're going to have posters of this slide that you see here in front of you. You're going to have posters of that for teachers in their classrooms. We'll have them in hallways, in the lunchrooms, pretty much wherever a Chromebook might be in use, students will have this. So we're really excited about these Chromebook Pride initiative. And it is, I will use digital devices, networks, and software in school for educational purposes and activities. I will bring Chromebooks to school each day charged and ready for use. I will leave it in my protective case or shell at all times. I'll keep my personal information, including home, mobile phone number, mailing address, and user password, and that of others private, and this is a really important one. I will show respect for myself and others when using technology, including social media. I will give acknowledgement to others for their ideas and work. And I will report inappropriate use of technology immediately. And these are things that we will review. Brett is going to talk to you about our grant, and this all plays into what we want our students to be as digital leaders and good digital citizens.
Thank you, Melissa. And we are excited about our new one-to-one device. We've learned a lot with our one-to-one Chromebooks we've had so far. And for those of you who are here tonight, we do have one of the HP Chromebooks in the protective case for you to get a chance to check that out and things. As a matter of fact, Melissa, if you want, you can go and pass this around to our parents to check out. So all these things are all about keeping our students safe and keeping our students where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing. So it's important that we all understand exactly what is expected of our kids, what's expected of our students, and of our teachers. And so part of the conversations that I have continually with teachers and with students and with parents is regards to our filtering. As our students do different class work, sometimes they come across a blocked site, and they always ask the question of why is this? And we use a system called Lightspeed Systems. And it's a filtering company that is probably, I think it's the number one used filtering company throughout the state of Indiana. It's a nationwide used company. And what Lightspeed does, it helps schools filter content so that the appropriate sites get to the appropriate students when they need them. And Lightspeed filters our websites 3 different ways. The most common way is through categories. So every website through Lightspeed is categorized. It might be categorized under games or under sports or under forums or under social media, news, entertainment, things like that. Websites are placed under a category. And then us here at Greater Clark, we can then say for these grade levels, these categories are okay. So if a website is categorized a certain way, then it gets to the filter. Now, it's not categorized just by the content or the pictures. It can also be categorized by individuals. So people at Lightspeed can receive information that this website shouldn't be categorized as one thing. It should be categorized as something else. And that helps them determine exactly how those websites are categorized. Now, apart from being a website being categorized, of course, we know that the internet is growing on a daily basis. There's always new sites popping up. And sometimes websites are unknown. When a website is unknown by the filter, its default is to block it, just for the safety and the security of our students and of our network. And so if a website is unknown and receives that block, then teachers have the ability to vet that website and then send that website to our filter admin group, and then we are able to then approve that website for student use. And so when a website is either blocked for a category or it's let through the filter for a category, or it could be blocked because of being unknown, then teachers are able to make a request for a site to be unblocked. And so we can unblock sites for for a certain grade level. We unblock sites for our students, or unblock sites just for our teachers. And so that's how we categorize things. So that's a basic purpose of how the filtering works through Lightspeed. And it's important for us to protect our students and protect the data of our students and the data of our teachers and our own network. And so this is why we have to have a filter in place. And so Lightspeed is a system that we use, and it's not just used by us, it's used by many schools across our state. Now, sometimes people ask, okay, so why do we have such strong filters? Well, I will tell you, we're not trying to be the fun police in all of this. As you know, sometimes students get upset, and I understand why they get upset by certain things not being open under them. But it's a matter of making sure that we are following our due diligence according to the regulations that are set before us. And those regulations are put before us a piece of legislation called the Child Internet Protection Act, known as SIPA. And SIPA is something that's put forth by the FCC, the same group that regulates our radios and our TV and the content that's on there. That same group regulates the type of content that we as a school allow our students to have access to. And through our filter requirements, they are wanting us to make sure we filter things that are considered obscene, child pornography, or are harmful to minors. So that sets a big parameter for what it is that we have to filter in order to keep our students safe. So beyond that, they also make a requirement that schools are required to adopt and implement an internet safety policy. That's for us known as our responsible use policy, something that every parent agrees to when they register their students for a school inside of Greater Clark. And that responsible use policy has to address the following areas: the access by minors to inappropriate matter on the internet, has to address the safety and security of minors when using electronic mail, chat rooms, and other forms of direct electronic communications. It has to address unauthorized access, including hacking and other unlawful activities by minors. We must address unauthorized disclosure, use, and discrimination of personal information regarding minors. And we have to address measures restricting minors' access to materials harmful to them. And so those are very broad terms that the FCC uses that we have to abide by. So when we're looking at different websites, whether it's Wikipedia or whether it's other content from blogs and forums and things like that, we have to decide, what's the right filter level in order to meet those FCC guidelines. And that drives our decision making. We're trying to have this balance of giving our kids the access and the information and the tools that they need, but then also trying to be compliant to the FCC regulations that are also then in turn tied to our funding that we use to pay for our internet access all across our district. So these are an incredibly important guidelines for us to have to follow in order to provide our students a safe environment to the right tools and information that they need. And so we do all these things. We have a great team of people that help monitor this type of information. We have a great management team, our e-learning coaches, our building technicians, all help us work together as a team to keep our students safe. And in those moments where we have issues that require action, we have great leaders in Amy Schellenberg, Dr. Travis Hare, Dr. Steve Griffith, Dr. Kim Hartledge, that spring into action to help address the needs of our students. Not to mention all of our teachers and principals. But a key piece to the support of our students are our SROs. And so I'm really excited today to turn this microphone over to Officer Settles to let him address some of the things that they work with and how they help families and that. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight, too. And on behalf of the SROs, and if I miss one, someone please tell me. But on behalf, we've got Officer Wolf, who's up here at Charlestown Middle, Deputy Fisher, Kevin Fisher, with the county police. He's at the high school here at Charlestown. And then we also have Officer Doherty and Officer Jackson, that's with me down in Jeffersonville. When I was asked to do this, it was about asking about the filter. And first thing that popped in my head is Mr. Clark's already said it. It's safety for the kids. That's the utmost thing. I think Greater Clark goes above and beyond to try to make our kids safe in the school environment, also, I guess, in the cyber world as well. How it works with that as far as a filter, we actually get contact from administrator at the school in regards of some kids using the internet inappropriately, and a lot of stuff can come from that. School discipline, also if a criminal investigation needs to be brought up, we bring it up, and that stuff is used for evidentiary basis. So the point is trying to protect that child from the person who could make that child can come in contact with on the internet. Internet's everywhere. It's worldwide, as it says, World Wide Web, www. So they can get out there and they can get a little curious and mischievous with some of this and get out there and use stuff through the school account and get introduced to some things that they shouldn't be introduced to. So we've got people, as he brought up, the filter comes into play with letting them see that, and they address it with the parent, with law enforcement if they need to, an SRO, and also on the school level. So a lot of social media, the phenomenon of that in the last 15 to 20 years has exploded in kids. That's how they communicate today, is on social media. So with that device that they're going to get, they are able to maybe get on there and use social media, hopefully in an appropriate way, but sometimes there is people that use it inappropriately and things get sent on that, and that helps the school make the school environment safe, also that child safe. So that is the utmost thing that I know Greater Clark County Schools trying to do, is to protect that child. So I know with for an example, we've had individuals that have used their school account and got on Craigslist to do certain things, inappropriate things, and it was filtered, and we intervened and we helped the child and the parent with some things that went on, and not just the law enforcement, it was also the school. So we helped that kid through a situation that was major to him and the family, and we were there to help. So that's an example. Another example is that we have inappropriate pictures that will be taken and sent across that use of internet and stuff like that as well with the school account. So with that being in place, there's a law that says child pornography, child exploitation, stuff like that. If that's used and in that inappropriately, that filter gets that. There's the IT guys that Mr. Clark's over. They look at that. They get it quickly. They get it to us. We investigate it. They get it off their server as soon as possible because state law mandates that, because now they would be in possession of what they would say child pornography. So we get that out and investigate it as fast as we can to see if there's anybody there that we need to actually make a physical arrest on or investigate that leads up to an arrest. So, like I said, Greater Clark does the best they can with what they've got to try to make these kids safe. And I think it's a great deal that they do have this one-on-one initiative, because the world today is technology. That's how they communicate, is through that device. I communicate through that device, phones and everything else, and where it's going as far as global things are going on. That's the way we have to communicate, and the kids need to learn. Lastly, I think they protect their system as well, because if a kid does get on a site and hopefully it blocks it like he says through the filter, but they don't, because we've got smart people out there that like to hack into things. I think that filter comes into play as well to hopefully block a catastrophic thing if they get into the system, and probably do a large amount of damage is what I'm trying to say with that. So that's why that's there. And if anything that Jeff Police Department can do, we're more than happy to help. I know Kevin Fisher, the SRO at Charlestown High, and I know the SRO at Charlestown Middle, Officer Wolf, are the same boat. They told me to say that. If you want anything from them, they're here to help you guys with that as well. And I appreciate y'all letting me come out and give you a few words of wisdom. Thank you.
We certainly appreciate all the work of all of our SROs and everything they do to keep our students safe. And fortunately, I've had some first-hand experience of just seeing what it is that they have to step into. And we are so fortunate and blessed to have great people to help all of our students and our families. And so, as Officer Settles was saying, we've got to do everything we can to make sure that our students are safe. And that's why we have to have these filters in place. That's why we have to have good policies in place that address things quickly and directly, so that we can continue to provide the services that our kids need and deserve. So in an effort with that, we've recognized that things like SIPA are not things that every family thinks about. Before I got into education, before I got into the position of youth technology integration, SIPA is not a regulation that I ever would have thought about. Neither are things like FERPA and HIPAA, and all those things are all acronyms out there that are all meant about keeping people's data and information secure and safe. And abiding by those things are paramount for us in the technology department. And so we put all these things in place in order to make sure that that data stays where it's supposed to stay. And so in an effort to help raise awareness and also make not just our community aware, but make our students more aware, our teachers give them stronger tools to teach from, our eLearning department got together and we wrote and were awarded a grant by the Department of Education here in Indiana. And so just briefly, I want to give you a little bit of insight to where we are heading with this in order to help raise awareness and to increase the digital citizenship of our students. Because many times the students, the areas that they go into that they're not supposed to go into, a lot of it is just by lack of information. They're maybe not even fully aware of some of the legal ramifications of their actions. And so it's important for all of us to make sure they understand that. So that this digital citizenship initiative that we are undertaking as a district is to do these things, is to increase digital citizenship among our students, making sure that they are good digital citizens, because in today's world, that matters. When our students are applying for colleges, there's a very good chance that if they're up for a scholarship, that the people making those decisions on scholarships are going to Google them. You hear incidents all the time of athletes losing scholarships because of something that they said on social media. You see professionals who lose their jobs because of what happened and what they did on social media. But on the flip side, you also see people who get great jobs because of the efforts they make on social media. You see people who make big differences because of the efforts they make through social media. And so we want to make sure that our students are being good digital citizens. And that is the very first and foremost purpose of this grant that we wrote. Second thing is to heighten awareness around internet safety and rights and responsibilities. Not just about being safe, but about what rights do you have when you post things. We have students right now who I know will make YouTube channels. And when they make those, what rights do they have to that information and to the content that they create for those YouTube channels? That's an important thing. We live in a very entrepreneurship society right now. It's a great time to be an entrepreneur. And so we want to make sure that our students understand that their rights that they have to the content that they create online. Thirdly, we want to empower our students, our families, our educators, and our community members as we together grow and address the issues around digital citizenship. And finally, we want to provide guidance and leadership opportunities. One thing that we are going to be doing as we move forward with this is making sure that all of our schools have a solid footing on the curriculum of what needs to be taught, when it needs to be taught, and at what grade levels. What do we expect out of our third grader to be able to do when they're online? What do we expect out of our middle schoolers to be able to accomplish when they're online? And what type of research tools do our high school students need access to when they are online? And so we want to make sure that our teachers and our principals are empowered to lead those conversations. We want to make sure that our parents are empowered to sit down and talk with their students about digital choices. And most importantly, we want to make sure that our students are empowered to grow as learners and to pursue information and things that they need in order to be successful. And so that's what this initiative is all about. We're really excited about it. We're going to be going through a program called Common Sense Media that's going to help every one of our schools get certified in digital citizenship and help us become a digital citizenship certified district. And that's going to be fantastic things. So just the last couple of things here. Working with technology is a twofold thing. There's the infrastructure side, the network, the internet, cracked screens and broken Chromebooks and things like that. Then there's the learning side, websites and filtering and inappropriate use and bullying and all those types of things. And we have to make sure that we as a district are addressing them the right way. When it's a technology issue, we want to make sure we are addressing that with technology solutions. That's why in the last 4 years, we have more than 10 times multiplied our amount of bandwidth that we have in our schools because of the fact that bandwidth has gone from a very low but with an appropriate use 4 years ago to where it has exploded now into how much our students are online throughout our school districts. So we had to have a technology solution to address that issue. And we want to make sure that we know that our new devices are much sturdier and stronger. We know that cracked screens and broken hinges have been an issue with our first round of Chromebooks. Well, that's why we've addressed that with a technology solution. It was a technology problem, so we addressed it with a technology solution. But we also know that with access to email and to early on My Big Campus and tools like that we had some online bullying. Well, bullying is not a technology issue. So we don't address that with a technology solution. Bullying is a behavior issue. And so we address behavior issues with good teaching. That's why when our students make a mistake and do bullying online, our first incident is to sit down, have a conversation, have a conference with them so that we can then talk through the issues surrounding around bullying. Because it doesn't matter if bullying happens online, in the hallway, in the cafeteria, in the locker room. It doesn't matter where bullying happens. We have to address it through good teaching. The same thing used with wasted time. I talk with a lot of teachers and students about how much time they waste being online. As a father of 3 boys, 2 of them in our 1-to-1 grade levels, I know that our students, my own kids, can get off task. And I don't address that by just limiting the amount of time they have online. But I address it by helping them have conversations around making good choices with their time when they're online. And that is what we're trying to find this balance on. When it's a technology issue, we address it with technology fixes. When it's a behavior issue, we address it with good teaching, just like you address it at home with good parenting. And so that is that balance that we're trying to strike in all of this. And finally, I want to encourage all of our parents to visit our technology website, tech.gcs.k12.in.us. There are great resources on this website. You can also just get to it, directly from our regular homepage and find us through the technology department. On this tech website, you'll see our timeline, which lays out exactly where we've been on this journey of one-to-one. We'll be putting out information real soon about the collection of Chromebooks as we wrap up our one-to-one with the Samsung Chromebooks. It's important that every student turns in their device, their charger, and their case. And so we have information about that coming out real soon through our tech website. We have information that's very valuable to our teachers and to our principals on this site, as well as great things for our parents. In the top right of our website is our partnership with Common Sense Media. If you click on that icon, it'll take you to a family toolbox, which gives you resources on how to lead those conversations with your own students, and also things like a social media contract that you can print off and have you and your child make an agreement about how they're going to behave online, how much time they're going to spend online, and what those activities are going to look like. There's other great scenarios in there to help all of us grow. I know I always need help as a parent, learn how to talk and with my own kids. And so some great tools in there. And all those resources are available in both English and in Spanish. And so there's some great things there. So please don't hesitate to go to that site. There's our contact us on there. Reach out to me anytime. And I'm always happy to address questions and things. So at this time, we have our question and answer session. And if you are watching at home, if you go to our website, tech.gcs.k12.in.us, the very first story on there is that blog post, at least the information from tonight, and there's a Google form on there, and you can fill out a question, and we will respond to it. And then also responses from this will be posted on our website as well. So even if your question doesn't get answered tonight, don't worry, I will go back and read your questions, and we will post a response to every question that comes in through the form. So at this time, do we have any questions from our audience? So I answered everybody's questions tonight. That's good. Good. I do have a few questions that have come in online, and one of the very first questions was about connectivity at home. Yes, the devices, the ones that we currently have and the ones that we are getting for next school year, for our next 3 years, you are able to connect them to your Wi-Fi at home. We are happy to share our tutorials to make sure that you know how to get that connection. Of course, you must have wireless internet at home in order to connect to that. There are many places around town, in Jeffersonville and Charlestown, where you can go and have access to free Wi-Fi. I would also encourage everybody to check out our website called everyoneon.com. And on everyoneon.com, you can put in your zip code and some information about your family, and they can also direct you to how to get more affordable Wi-Fi in your home. And so there's a lot of great services out there to help all of our families get access to internet in their home. So yes, all these devices do have accessibility to be able to connect to the Wi-Fi from your home internet. Another question that has come in was, when do the police get involved? That's an excellent question. We have a team of people who are every day searching through to make sure our students are safe. And when they come across a piece of information, whether it is through an email or through the web search history of those students, if any of that information constitutes any illegal activity, Officer Suttles mentioned this earlier, our team immediately quarantines that information, pulls it off of our servers, contacts the police department, we have more than one person who does it, so there's always a witness to make sure that we're signing off on things properly. We contact the police, get them involved. We contact our superiors to make sure that they know of the situation, and then we begin to again quarantine that data, and then we. Because we do not have the resources or the training that our officers do, we hand off that information to them, and then we coordinate with them. If they need us to find more information, to pull any other records, then we, of course, are fully compliant with our police officers. But if it's something that is considered illegal activity, whether it's something involving drugs or pornography or violence, then we contact our officers right away in those types of situations. So that's an excellent question. All right, I addressed a little bit of this earlier, but someone had asked me what happens when somebody gets in trouble, someone makes poor decisions. How do we address those things? Of course, every situation is unique, but in a typical situation, the very first course of action is to bring that student in and to have a counseling session. As long as it's not an illegal activity, if it is this kind of a typical, misbehavior, then we try to treat it like anything else. Whether I don't treat anything differently as far as behavior-wise goes. If it's a behavior situation, whether it's before computers or since computers got in our kids' hands, we try to address it the same way. So we do a counseling session with them, and we try to address it. If they become a repeat offender, then we move to other things progressively through our traditional line of discipline. There are cases where we make students day users for a short amount of time, so that their device use is only occurring during the school day, so they don't lose access to the tool that they need for their education during that time. And then if situations continue, then of course we have our institutional suspension and things like that. But that's just for those severe repeat offenders, or if the action itself constitutes it. And all right, one of the other the biggest concerns that was shared with us is that the idea of sharing passwords, and this is the issue that we hope that every parent takes time to talk with their students about. When we issue students their email address and their password, that is for them, and whenever a student decides to share his or her password, they're opening themselves up for a lot of complications. You always hope and trust your friend that they're going to use your email and password for good things, but it doesn't turn out that way. Someone has a bad day, they make a poor decision, and they sign into your email account with your password that you gave them, and they email something inappropriate to a teacher or a principal or a friend, and that comes from your account. And so it's a problem on twofold. It's one, the problem of dealing with the person whose email account was being used with the discussion of sharing private information, which is a violation of the responsible use policy. And then there's the issue of the person who took the other student's email account and emailed inappropriate things. So that in itself is a different infraction. And we deal with both issues separately. And neither kid is off the hook. They both made poor decisions, and there are consequences for both of those poor decisions. And so email password is something that is very important, that we make sure that our students keep their information safe. But beyond just email password, we have to make sure our students understand that there's that private information besides the password they shouldn't be sharing, whether it's their home address, whether it's their phone number, whether it's someone else's phone number, those inappropriate images that they take and send back and forth to each other. Anytime you post anything out there, it is out there for the whole world to see. One thing that I've seen Melissa Stewart talk with students, and one thing that I love the illustration she uses is a tube of toothpaste, and she squirts some of that toothpaste out onto her finger and begins to show it to the kids in the class. And I've seen elementary students look at her like, "Why are you sharing that toothpaste?" And she's like, "Well, that's kind of silly. I need to put this back." And it's always fun to watch kids' reaction as she's trying to put the toothpaste back into the toothpaste holder. And it's not going to work. It isn't going to go back. And the same thing is true with online, that when we post things out there, then it's out there. this video that we're live streaming now is out there. And we could try to delete it, but someone can take a screenshot of me talking right now. It can be out there for the whole world to see. Once I put this out there, I know that I cannot bring this back. And that's something that we're constantly trying to work with our students on. And so I'm looking forward to our next one-to-one to making sure that our new device is sturdier, stronger, better supported, to working through our digital citizenship initiative, integrating it with our Pride initiative to give our students a safer environment, to empower our community to really go strong into this digital world that's just exploding all across the globe. And I think we got some great things in place. We've learned a lot over the last 3 years, and there's a lot more for us to grow in. So one more time, are there any questions from our current audience? All right, so thank you so much for being here tonight. Thank you for joining us online, and to Officer Settles and Melissa Stewart for helping us with this presentation. Thank you, everybody, and have a good night.